Hey everyone, and welcome to the TJ the Tech Guy podcast, episode number 001. This is our very first podcast, and I'm excited about where this is going to go in the future, and I'm hoping that we get some really good connection, good feedback from you guys as far as how you like these podcasts and what you think of them. But I wanted to start this particular podcast because it is our very first one, kind of giving you guys a little bit of background about myself, what it is that I do, where I came from, and whatnot. And I also want to give you guys a little bit of an idea on where these podcasts are going to go, what they're going to contain, what kind of information you'll be able to get from them, and how you can interact with what I want to do. So real quick, a little bit about myself. I have always been a technology freak, right from the start. I got my first computer, I think, when I was a teenager. It was an old Commodore 64, and I would write my own programs, and I subscribed to all the techie magazines, the few that were out back then. And I would go in, and I would just kind of take it apart and see what I could do, and it was really fun. And I always kind of stuck with the computer thing. I never really let it go. As I got older and I became a teenager, I got involved with amateur radio and was always doing stuff that, you know, most of the kids my age thought was kind of geeky at the time. But as I begin to grow in my knowledge and to move forward in that, I started getting into, once the internet started to give birth to where people were creating websites and putting more and more stuff online, I was one of the first ones to really get in there and really be fascinated by how that whole process worked. And I built my first website probably about 15 years ago is when I really took the dive into it, to learn to create, learning HTML, learning to create those, what I called great websites at the time. They kind of really weren't. Now that I see them, please stay away from Google Wayback. And as far as some of the stuff that I created, it's a little bit scary. But I also work with media, and I was working on stuff like video editing and audio editing, as well as recently more getting into application development, since that seems to be where the trend is going. But in addition to all of that, all of the technology and all of the stuff that I do, I absolutely love to teach people. I like to work with people one-on-one, and I like to help them create the perfect website. Now, whether it be for a church or their hobby or business or whatever, I really enjoy that kind of connection and working with people. I like to see them capture the vision, and kind of tap into their creativity. I mean, there's a ton of things online where you can go to where it's kind of cookie cutter, copy and paste websites. But I actually enjoy the process of somebody learning using a content management system like a WordPress or a Joomla, and actually being able to create for themselves, to kind of see in their mind's eye what they want to do, and then share with them or give them the knowledge it takes for them to really grasp hold of that and run with it. Now, in addition to my technical background, I also have a background in marketing, and I've done sales for various companies throughout my younger adult life. And now I'm kind of using this and working full-time as far as merging those two things together and really working with people as far as growing an online presence and that sort of thing. Now, what I want to do with this podcast is, or what I'm looking to do is, I'm looking to use this as a place to answer questions that I get from people who are either just getting started, using online media, or who have been online, but they're looking to grow their online presence a little bit more. And what I plan to do is I plan to share not only my knowledge, but I also want to bring people onto this program who are experts in a particular field. Now, I've actually lined up a few people already, people who have done some pretty amazing things online, who have said that they are willing to come on here and share with us some of the skills and techniques that they use to make that happen. Now, some of these folks have built amazing online lists. They've literally got tens of thousands of followers, some of them over 100,000 followers on Facebook, Twitter, etc. And some of them are just technical gurus that really know how to produce and create, whether it be events or whether it be online videos and audios and that sort of thing. So I'm really looking forward, as I said, to where this is going to go. But there's a couple of things I wanted to do just to let you guys know how you can interact and how you can be a part of what we're doing here. And basically, my website, tjthetechguy.com, has a couple of options available. Obviously, you can get online there, and if you're a member, you can listen to these podcasts as they come out. But you can also submit questions. There's a section on there that will allow you to just ask any question you want when it comes to creating marketing, audio editing, video editing, whatever. It doesn't really matter. It's open. But we want to take those questions, and if I can't answer them one-on-one for you from my website, or I can't have one of my team members answer it for you, hopefully we'll be able to get it on here and answer it for the masses, especially if it's a question that we're getting all the time. So by all means, feel free to check that out anytime and submit feedback, not only questions, but submit feedback about this program and what you think, what you'd like to see, what you love, what you hate, doesn't matter. So with that said, let's get into a little bit more. But after this break, we're going to get into a little bit, starting with some of the questions that I've gotten over the years, and hopefully break it down for you. So stick with us, and we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Tim, the founder of Pandora. Thanks for taking the time to learn about this issue and how you can help. For years, internet radio has battled an unfair royalty system that forces us to pay massive licensing costs, far more than any other form of radio. To give you an idea of how extreme this discrimination is, last year Pandora paid 50% of our revenue to record labels and artists. That's over 6 times the rate paid by SiriusXM. As a musician myself, I believe that artists should be fairly compensated, but the current system hurts everybody, including artists. There's an opportunity right now to solve this problem. The Internet Radio Fairness Act is a bipartisan bill that will create a level playing field across all digital radio, allowing for much faster growth of internet radio. And in the long run, growth of internet radio is better for artists. I'm asking for your urgent support. Please call your congressional representative today and ask them to support the Internet Radio Fairness Act. Thanks for your support.
Welcome back to the TJ the Tech Guy podcast. Now, I wanted to do something in this segment. I wanted to answer some of the questions that I get all the time from people who are just starting out creating a website. And it doesn't really matter what you're creating your site for, but this is mostly the question that I get from people who are actually trying to get their website to do something for them. In other words, to have a functioning website, whether they're looking to generate leads, they're looking to perhaps sell a product, or they're looking to build their brand. It doesn't really matter, but this is one of the main things that I get from those who are just getting started. And that's it. They ask me all the time, okay, so what do I need to do? Do I need to do social media? Do I need to do, my Twitter, my Facebook? Do I need to create videos and put videos up on YouTube? Do I need to have a website? Should I do a blog? And there's so many avenues that I want to break it down for you, the order that I would recommend to you to create your online presence. So hopefully you have a website. Now, the reason it's important to have a website is you need to have a home base. Now, social media is excellent. And right now, that is definitely the darling of the web. Everybody, the majority of users who go online are going online and using social media. But you still need to have a home base. You can't just rely on a Facebook account or a Twitter account to build your list of prospects that you can market your products or your services to. And the reason you need to have a home base is, well, there's actually a couple of reasons, but the main reason is there's things you can do on a website that you own that you can't do on, say, like a Facebook. The other reason that's equally as important on why you need to have a home base and that you can't just strictly rely on your social media is you can't rely on Facebook to always be your best friend. And what I mean by that is it's great that you're building a list in your social media, and it's great that you're, maybe out there using Twitter or whatever, but the scary part about using that is it can go away virtually at any time. And if Facebook one day decides that you did something that they don't feel fits their guidelines or their policy, they can shut you down without notice. The same thing can happen, with Twitter or YouTube, and it actually did happen a few years ago with Google. Now, I had personal friends, who did their marketing strictly through Google. They used Google to build their list. That was really their major power player in building their marketing. And one day, Google just decided that they didn't want to do business with that particular form of marketer. And when they did, my friends lost everything. They lost all of their information. They've lost all their contacts, everything. So you want to be cautious about what you do. And the way you can overcome that, the way you can guarantee that, is by owning your own content. And what I mean by that is, when you go and you create a Facebook account or you create a Twitter account, yes, you're putting up that information. You're posting those photos. You're posting those videos. You're writing that text and putting those comments, whatever. The problem is when you do that, if you read the fine print of the agreement with a Facebook or a Twitter or whoever, you actually are lending that or giving that information to them. That's their content. You might be the originator, but they own it. It's on their website, and they can do whatever they wish with it. Now, I don't want that to scare anybody away from doing social media, because, as I said before, right now that is the hot button. That is the place you need to be, because that is the place that your customers are. So by no means am I trying to scare you away from using Facebook or any of that, but I'm telling you, I'm recommending to you that you have a solid home base that you own. And the only way really that you can do this is by having your own website. And it doesn't matter if it's a blogs type website or just a website that has, information about your business, your products, or what you're doing, but you definitely need to have that home base. So that's a great place to start. Creating a website for yourself is a great place to not only start your branding, but it's a great place to perhaps sell a product or, as I said before, generate leads or capturing the list. Now, when you build a business online or when you create a presence online, and again, it doesn't really per se to every business. If you have a church, you might not be interested in building a list. It might just be to keep your members of your church up to date on what's going on. Or if that's the type of business you have, then maybe that's good enough for you. But hopefully, if you're in the marketing type business where you're selling a product or you're providing a service or whatever, you're going to want to capture names. You're going to want to capture names of people who are within your target market or people that you can market to. And that is where your website comes into play. So you can use your social media and you can use your, whatever to drive those people into your home base, into your website, where they can get not only more information on you, but they can really continue to grow that relationship with you. And hopefully, if you're doing things right and everything's set up properly, you're going to use that website to function and do that purpose for you, which is, again, maybe building the list, generating some leads, or selling your product. So to use your website as that resource is key. So let's get into that a little bit. So I already recommended that your home base, or that the first thing you do is generate that website. And there's obviously ways online that you can do that. But when you do that, you have to think about that website as the center of a spider web. We talk about the World Wide Web, but if you can envision this in your head as a actual spider web. So you have that center point, that very center point, which is your homepage, which is your website, your home base. And then spread out from that are various links or various spokes of the web that drive people back into that center point. They're all connected to that center point. So what would those outer points be? Well, that's where you would run into your social media, your Facebook page, your Twitter feed, your YouTube page if you're going to get into making or creating videos. Whatever type of avenue, your offline advertising, your offline, if you are yellow pages type people where you're putting ads in the yellow pages or the local paper, or Craigslist has been a great resource for me. if you're getting to do using, maybe if you have an Elance page, if you do the type of work that I do, but all those different points can be used to drive people back again to my homepage, to my center point. So if you look at it that way, once you have your center point, your anchor point per se, that you can draw, that you can work off of, then I would get into creating a Facebook page and creating a Twitter page and moving forward in that avenue. So with that in mind, the very next question, and this is like the granddaddy of them all, is, okay, TJ, I'm down with that. I hear what you're saying. I want to do a web page. I can get a web page up, but what content do I create? What do I put on that page that my audience or that my users want to see and want to read and want to hear? And that is an excellent point. When you break down the structure of a web page, it really breaks down to two sides. The graphic side, and that's how your web page looks, and the content side. The graphic side is the colors and maybe some obviously a little bit of video, but the colors and the background and the style of text and the way the page is laid out. And then there's the content side. And the content side is the text, the content on the videos, if you're going to post videos, any audio that you put up. That is the information. That is the meat and potatoes of a web page. Now, you want your webpage to look professional. You want it to look great. Hopefully you want it to fit your colors and your style. You want it to fit your branding. But the content is really what makes or breaks a website. Content is king when it comes to the web. If you're reaching your audience, your target market, with the right content, it's a home run almost every time. Now, that being said, when you're first starting out, it can be a huge hurdle. A huge hurdle to connect with those people. And this is what I tell my people that are first starting out, people that I'm working with. I give them this little golden nugget of advice, and if they tap into this, it is literally amazing the results that they get. Basically, what it is I tell them the most successful websites on the web, the ones that are the most successful marketing websites on the web, the ones that are huge. I'm not talking about the Facebooks and all that, but I'm talking about the business websites. The most successful ones are the ones that are answering the right questions. And mainly, they're answering questions. Now, let me break that down just a little bit, what I mean by that. The most successful businesses in general are the ones that the people like and trust. And they build that like and trust by answering questions, significant questions that their target market has. So let me give you an example. My website, TJ the Tech Guy, my whole focus is I want to be able to answer questions to people who are in my field, people who are looking to create a website, who have never done it before, who want to build their social media presence, whatever. I want to be there to answer those questions because I know, I'm telling you all my secrets here, I know that if I answer questions that you're going to get to build a relationship with me. And hopefully it's a relationship of trust. And hopefully it's a relationship that you can gain some knowledge for that betters your life. So think about that from any kind of marketing perspective. If you have a website and you have your target market, hopefully by now, if you are starting in a business or whatever, you know who your target market is. What are the questions they're asking? What are their most important questions? What are their top questions that they're asking, and how can you answer them? Now, here's a little side note on that. You don't necessarily have to answer questions about your particular product or about whatever your particular item is you want to sell or you're trying to market. You just have to be able to answer questions that they're asking, their most important questions. Take a realtor, for instance. A realtor their target market would be people who are either looking to buy a house or people who are relocating to a specific area. Now, if you're a realtor and your target market is people who are looking to obviously get into a new area or are moving in from outside of town, what are the top questions they're asking? What are the most important concerns and needs they're having? What answers can you provide? Do you think you could provide answers on schools? You think you could provide answers on the taxes in a particular area? What businesses, what restaurants, what entertainment? All of these things have nothing to do with what kind of house they want or what kind of house you could put them in, but by answering their top concerns at that particular moment, when it comes time down the road for them to buy that house, you will be able to help them and move them in. And that works for virtually any type of business. Whether you install electronics or you have a lemonade stand, it doesn't matter. You can purposely reach your target audience by finding their questions and becoming the answer person that they're looking for. That concludes this particular episode of the TJ the Tech Guy podcast. Now, as I said in the beginning, if you guys want to, you can submit a question or comment on anything that you heard today by going to my website, which is www.tjthetechguy.com. And I'm looking forward to getting some feedback from you guys and hooking up with you in future episodes. So until next time, God bless, and we'll see you later.